This is SoundOff, Louisiana's premier television sports show, coming to you from Sportsbook at L'Auberge Lake Charles. Here are the guys, Rick, Scooter, and Kevin.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for punching us up on your TV screens. We do appreciate that, of course. 2 out of 3, the dynamic duo.
Always, I'm going to always show up.
Week.
Even I'm on injury reserve, whatever, I'm going to show up.
Last year you had six vacations, so we're trying to get that availability back.
You can't win.
All right, glad to have you with us.
Always glad to be here.
You cannot win with me. Okay.
It's okay. It's
another
accepted.
big show. Much to cover. The McNeese Cowboys are close to wrapping up the Southern Conference basketball regular season championship. I'm going to go on record. They're going to win the regular season. I'm going to go on record. They're winning the dadgum tournament.
Wade is doing it all, man.
Hey, if they win the tournament, of course, or if they win the regular season, it's those 2 very valuable double buys. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yes.
The McNeese Cowgirls Softball team entertained
Coach
number
Landreneau.
1 Oklahoma before sellout crowds and number 24 Baylor. If you want to know how they fared, hang around. We got the man coming in, James Landreneau, the coach of the Cowgirls.
Yes.
Will come in to SoundOff to talk about that big weekend against the Sooners. New offensive coordinator for the Saints. He hired some offensive assistants, but how he did it in the process, you and I are going to debate that a little bit.
We will.
All right.
Yes, we will.
More trouble for the LSU football roster. The commentary.
You know what?
You can't watch them 24/7.
This is my thing, Rick.
And it's coming up later in the show, though.
It just irks me.
I know it does.
You know what? Coaches, keep kids on campus. Just keep them on campus, okay?
That ain't possible.
That's all.
All right, and we got some tidbits on the NBA All-Star game. You want to hang around for that. I'm not a happy camper, all right, look, it was only a matter of time and games before Will Wade would deliver on his famously iterated.
He said it here.
I know, many times.
He said it right here.
And, how many times he said it, often repeated, he's going to win 23 games plus
Rick.
1.
He did.
Well, he's done it with 23 wins by blowing out Nichols on the road.
Wow.
They've got a huge 3-game lead right now over Corpus Christi, Lamar, and Nichols. They're pretty much running away with the conference with 4 games remaining, Kevin. Only 4.
I mean, are you surprised?
I am not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I don't know who's really surprised. When you look at it, Rick, and we've had Coach Will Wade on the show, and he said here just as calm as could be, he hadn't even put his team together yet. He said, guys, I'm going to tell you, we're going to win 23 games.
Well, he knew what he had coming in.
I said, what?
He'd been working on this roster.
What?
He's been working on a roster probably for 6 months prior to coming here.
Maybe so, Rick.
He knew he was getting a gig.
But the thing is this, Rick, to deliver in the way that he's delivered.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't think I've seen as many people here around town when you go into a store or whatever, they're talking about Coach Will Wade.
Let me throw this out. Let me knock on wood. You can do it as well.
They're talking about Will Wade, man.
What hasn't been mentioned and needs to be, this has been a very healthy team.
That's a good point,
No
Rick.
one has
Rick,
lost
why
any
did you bring that
plank.
up? Why did you bring that up?
No, it's like the announcer saying the kicker has never missed an extra point.
You know, Rick, what you're right
Extremely
about that,
healthy.
Rick.
And that's critical. Look, when they got to 11-2 and beat UT Martin, Southern Miss, UL Lafayette, the big Michigan win, UAB was a huge win on the road. When they got to 11-2, 23 was happening, man.
23 was happening. And you know
24,
what, Rick?
27, 29
let me say this,
was
Rick.
happening.
When you have a certain way as to how you condition and how you prepare you guys, can that have something to do with how you guys fare throughout the whole season?
Luck.
I think it does, Rick.
Luck,
Rick. But you know what, Rick?
Luck.
But if you condition and put your guys in a position to where they can run, and Rick, let me tell you something. Will Wade's probably got the best substitute system in the conference.
Well, he's deep.
He's real deep, Rick.
Saunders got here,
when
he became really deep.
When you don't have to play as many guys that many minutes.
You're right. When you're deep, when you got a good rotation,
when
give
you're
them a
playing
rest.
a lot of guys and you burn them out, that's when injuries may happen,
Where's
Rick.
my dinger? That's your moment of the show right
Always.
there.
I have one every week.
Back-to-back blowout breezers
no
over
doubt about
Houston
it.
Christian, which they're just awful. Houston Christian is awful. But the win at Nichols.
But they're in
that
Houston,
game
got a lot of
should
money
have
in
been,
Houston
that game should have been much closer. Back-to-back breezers like that, I think they figured out these troubling, sluggish early starts. I mean, 2 games where they just crank it. But at Nichols, defense. They clamped down on the passing lanes. Nichols was embarrassing to the point where every time they came down the floor, 1 out of 2, they were turning over the basketball. It was embarrassing.
And you know what, Wade? Wade has
good for
a
McNeese.
sense, yeah, very good.
And they had
for
a lot to
McNeese.
do with it, of course.
Wade has a lot to do with how he plays offense and defense. But the thing is, he's got his guys believing in the system that he's putting on the floor, Rick, to where these guys play. Rick, I've never seen, and I shouldn't say never, but I don't think I've seen a McNeese basketball team take the court. You and I both have made some games. Take the court as confident.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at somebody, Rick, and how they dribble. I mean, how they pass.
Yeah.
These guys are confident, Rick.
They know if they get down by 10 or even 18
It doesn't
at
matter,
Corpus,
Rick.
they have a chance to come back and win the game.
I have never seen a team like that, Rick, that has been so confident on the court.
It was apparent at Nichols in Thibodeau. Points off turnovers.
Yeah.
Nichols had an outrageous amount of turnovers. Points
did.
off turnovers, and then points in the paint.
They did.
And when you get easy buckets, points in the paint, you just
It
you
just
just
compounds, Rick.
demoralize
It
the
does.
other
It
team.
compounds. the problem, Rick.
Demoralize them.
And you know what? I tell you,
Kevin, they held Nichols to
it was
47
embarrassing. No,
points.
it was embarrassing to a point. Rick.
47 points. Think about that.
It was embarrassing to a point. And as a coach, Rick, do you just try and use up all your timeouts just to stop whatever's going on, just to try to stop the momentum or whatever? I mean, what do you do to do something like that, Rick? You got to let them play, Rick.
4 Cowboys in double figures. The lineup is the usual.
Yeah.
Shoemate with his shoe slams.
He's
Collin,
done-
Wells,
Shoemake, man, let me tell you something.
Garcia. They'll get 4 and 5 guys in double figures.
Shoemaker, if I'm not mistaken, has he made the top 10 on ESPN twice now?
At
3
least
times
4
now?
times.
And he's
I
been in
didn't
the
see
top
it, but
5.
apparently
He's been in the top 5
he
twice.
made the #1 top 10 over the weekend with
Come
another
on, man.
shoe slam.
Come on.
I don't. All right, they get a much-needed break. Remember
They
that
do.
health issue?
They do.
They don't. They
They
didn't
do.
play Monday night, so they don't play again
do.
until Saturday.
Saturday.
That's a timely, like a little bit
is.
of a mini
That
open
is.
week, right?
Yeah.
To rest the joints.
Rick,
huge to do that.
I just think when Will Wade has done something here, man, that people. This is what I said, and I've said it before with him on the show. This is what the Legacy Center was built for.
Yes, indeed.
That's what it was.
McNeese baseball, by the way, 0-3. We told you don't read
Yeah,
too much
yeah,
into losing
yeah,
the number
yeah.
8 Aggies on the road. I know it wasn't
But
good.
that was the Aggies now,
I
come
mean,
on.
it was like 15-0, 6-1, 10-1, 10-0, early
Yeah.
on the road. A team still in. All right, if you need a well-timed some R&R yourself,
Yes.
make your way down to the Max Bar and Grill at the National Golf Club. We've been reminding you of the great steaks and burgers. But if you want to go a little bit lighter, a full array of salads and wraps, and maybe just a bowl of gumbo or a cold beer or cocktail to wind down. It's all at the Max Bar and Grill. Don't forget about their weekend brunches. They start at 10.
If it's a story worth telling, it starts with Getaways specializing in me time. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Escapes to soak the day away. And rounds on a course designed by Tom Fazio. Start a story all your own at Le Berge Lake Charles.
We're the attorneys Southwest Louisiana has known and trusted for decades. We fought relentlessly for our clients and won. We are proud to announce a new name based on our legacy of success. We are Lundy Law. The name may be new, but our team's commitment to pursuing justice for our clients has never been stronger. From personal injury and maritime cases to insurance claims, mass tort, and civil litigation, you can count on the experienced attorneys at Lundy Law.
Simply Spiked Lemonade, made with real fruit that fell from its tree and rolled right into the party. Simply Spiked. Tastes like your favorite juice, now spiked. Now introducing Simply Spiked Peach. It's getting juicy.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
Welcome back to Sound Off, coming to you from the Sportsbook at Le Berge, where you
Yes.
can get elite sports betting and great times with fantastic food and great service right here at the Sportsbook. Sound Off presented to you by Lundy Law of Lake Charles, also brought to you by J&J Exterminating, and of course, Le Berge Casino Resort.
Yes.
All right, in the third chair. It used to be the fourth chair. It's third chair this week because
Today,
Hobbs is gone.
'cause Hobbs is out.
See how that domino effect?
I'm
it's
getting
the
it.
third chair.
I'm getting it. We're glad to have
Stay
Coach
with me.
Landreneau
We
here
want to
with us,
welcome
too.
back Cowgirls head softball coach. That would be James Landreneau.
Yes.
Fresh off I'll call it a historic weekend. I mean, sellout games. You bring in #1 Oklahoma, 3-time defending national champion, to your ballpark, along with earlier in the week #24 Baylor. That's historic.
I guess I never really thought about it that way.
I
But
do,
It's definitely an exciting week of
Yeah.
softball, right? Hopefully for our fan base, they could appreciate not having to turn on the TV to see someone play.
Yeah.
You could actually come to the park right here in Southwest Louisiana and watch high-level competition. Like you said, 3-time.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's been the standard for a long time now. I mean,
For women's softball, no doubt about
Standard
that.
bearer. You're right about that.
Coach, you know what? You've mentioned a number of times when you've been on the show about, Kevin, I'm not afraid to schedule those games because I know what it can do to my team and how it motivates my team for later on in the season.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about why you schedule those games, Coach, and the reasons why you do.
Well, the ultimate goal, I think every person that's a true competitor wants to see how they match up against the best. And so you have the right kids in the dugout and the right kids that are here that want to be challenged.
Yeah.
It's not about searching for victories. Everybody wants to win across the country,
Exactly,
right?
Coach.
But man, you want to play against the best people and see where you stand up. It kind of gives you a kind of gauge. Okay, this is where if you make mistakes, you're going to get exposed.
You will.
And hey, this is where we need to get better. And so it's a good test for our players. As a coach, I think it makes us better as coaches. It makes us better as players. And that's why the kids that we have in the locker room are coming here, because they see the schedule year after year, and they're intrigued by getting to play those matchups. And then be able to do it at home is just icing on the cake for us.
I've been a firm believer, and I've always said this, and I've argued with you about this.
We argue about a lot.
Football,
Remind
high
me.
school, selecting all that stuff. If you want to be the best, Coach, you got to play the best.
Well, that's a real novel, earth-shattering.
I'm just saying, earth-shattering or not,
All right, I got you. All right, look.
But it's simple, but it's right.
It's simple. It is.
We'll talk a lot about McNeese in Oklahoma, but let's not forget in this Cowgirl Challenge, you did beat Central Arkansas. You 10 Landreneau. And then you fought through a pretty good Lamar game. So you got 2 wins there. But the 2 losses against Oklahoma, 8-1, 8-1, 3-0.
Yeah.
How did the pitching and the hitting and overall show up? I think that's a pretty good showing. This is 3-time national champion.
Yeah. That's a high-powered offense for years. It's not just, we played them 3 years ago, 2001, and we couldn't get out of 5 innings with them.
Wow.
And so, the 1 through 9, and if they go to backups, it's all people that have power, speed, and they're just a very dynamic group. And obviously with All-American, facing Maxwell in the circle, we knew it was going to be a tough battle. But I thought our girls showed a lot of resolve, a lot of competitive. Showed that they're competitors. We had a couple of times where the game could have kind of spun out of control. You'll kind of see OU traditionally that once they get in a roll, you kind of feel like you're in the game, and all of a sudden they'll get away from you in 1 inning. And so I think we did a really good job this year of minimizing damage, staying in the fight. You always felt like you were in the game.
Kind of keep it somewhat close.
One of the things I guess I talk about, Coach, I realize baseball and softball, that's a little bit different. One thing that we always say, in baseball, the pitcher can control a game if he's that good.
Yeah.
Is it somewhat true in softball? If you got somebody on the mound you facing, can they really control the game?
100%.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
100%.
answers my question,
I mean, it's all in that circle.
Wow.
Like I tell our pitchers all the time, we could say all positions are equally important. That's not true.
Wow.
That pitching circle is the most important position on the field.
Wow.
Yeah, James Landreneau, Cowgirls Softball Coach, has joined us here on SoundOff. By the way, we're talking a lot about this past weekend at the Diamond. Thursday night show, James will be with us. We'll talk more in-depth about your team.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the 2024 season. Rack and stack the Southland Conference because you're picked, of course, preseason favorite, of course. Look, you had some scoring opportunities in both games against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Things didn't work out. Their pitching had a lot to do.
Yeah.
They did, and you want to get better, right? It was timely hitting.
You got a home run, right?
Corinne comes up and takes an early lead, hits a ball,
1-0.
hits a ball at the park, and we had a couple. We had trouble getting traffic after that, and we had 2 innings in the second game where we had runners at first and second. We hit into a double play, and we got to stay out of those situations if we want to be an elite team. We got to be able to advance runners without taking ourselves out. So. Hopefully we mature. I mean, timely hitting's everything. We couldn't get the timely hit, and they were fortunate too. They go up on us in the second game 2-0 right away. And I thought our kids did a good job of staying competitive through I think 4 or 5 zeros after that. Then they hit a home run in the 6th. So we gave ourselves a fighting chance, just couldn't get the big hit.
How did your army, I'll say your army of arms, hold up really for the whole weekend? Because I know I was watching. I had to play Mr. Mom over the weekend. I couldn't make it to the ballpark, but I was able to catch it on ESPN+. Kudos to Hafer and Hayes. Good job on the play-by-play on ESPN+. Good job, guys. How did your army of arms hold up through the weekend. This is still early in the season, too.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out. Lindsay Davis is coming back off of ACL, so we knew she was going to be limited for his amount of innings and stamina as she comes in. And Ryan Scheck-Snyder, sophomore lefty, I thought she came in and did a fair job against him. Just couldn't handle the bunt that one situation, kind of got away from us. But, I thought Shaylin Sanders came in that second game and threw a gem of a game. She came in the first inning. I think she goes the distance and allows one run over 6 1/3 against the OU team. So I thought she pitched really well. It's good to see her mature, especially after the home run. Her big moment was after the home run, she came in and got the next girl out right away. It inspired, and that was exciting to see. And that showed some maturity in her.
Those little things that maybe the fans don't realize, but you obviously as a veteran coach who's been around the rodeo on the block, you see that stuff. Look, we talk a lot about the moment of playing against a Baylor and an Oklahoma. There is video evidence when this guy was playing against, say, like a top 3 Nebraska, or every time he played against Notre Dame, he's on the sideline throwing up because he's so nervous. But so the moment, I saw the video.
Don't let him make it on
I saw the video. You're throwing up. It's old, grainy, black and white, but I saw it. How did your girls
that's
handle
just excitement, man.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
I'm going to let him have it, Coach Landreneau.
Notre Dame.
I'm going to let him have it, Coach Landreneau.
How did the girls handle the moment?
I thought they handled it great.
Baylor, too. Number 24 came in as a prep game.
I felt like our kids felt like they belonged. They had a ton of belief. They never felt. And I'll give you one instance. I called timeout. They had bases loaded. I go to the mound and to the circle, and I'm talking to Sanders. I'm looking at my team. My team's infield's able to kind of joke with me a little bit in that moment. She's like, Coach, I'm fine. I'll be all right. And for us to have that moment and get out of that inning, right? So it shows they have a ton of belief, and just really proud of the effort that they put in, and when things got out of control, never flustered.
Confidence.
It's got to mean
moving
a lot, though,
into the more non-conference games, and of course the Southland Conference. Thursday night show. Coach Landreneau will be back with us to talk in depth about the team and really the second
Looking
season.
Forward to that.
We appreciate you coming in earlier in the week. That's
always
We'll take a break. We're coming back with more Sound Off. Stay right there.
We're the attorneys Southwest Louisiana has known and trusted for decades. We fought relentlessly for our clients and won. We are proud to announce a new name based on our legacy of success. We are Lundy Law. The name may be new, but our team's commitment to pursuing justice for our clients has never been stronger. From personal injury and maritime cases to insurance claims, mass tort, and civil litigation, you can count on the experienced attorneys at Lundy Law.
Simply Spiked Lemonade. Made with real fruit that fell from its tree and rolled right into the party. Simply Spiked. Tastes like your favorite juice, now spiked. Now introducing Simply Spiked Peach. It's getting juicy.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
All right, welcome back. We're back to the Sportsbook at LaBeige. Many thanks for Cowgirls softball coach James Landreneau for joining us.
Good having him, too,
He'll be on the Thursday night show on CBS Lake Charles talking about the roster and a little bit deeper dive into the team itself. In between camera breaks, he made an interesting comment that you talked to him about the transfer portal. Well, Oklahoma, when they go to the transfer portal, they have All-Americans transferring in. Not just somebody, unhappy because they're not getting playing time.
What a problem
They get All-Americans to come in. That's the level of competition. A 3-time national champion that the Cowgirls had to face.
We were talking, they haven't lost a game in two years? 3 years almost?
It's obviously a dynasty.
That is crazy.
I think the Cowgirls equated themselves
I think they did.
8-1, 3-0.
Against Oklahoma, I think they did.
Considering the level of competition, that's fantastic.
But I applaud Coach Landreneau for asking the question and saying, we want those kind of games. We want to see how we stack up. And I totally agree.
Makes a difference when the selection committee, at-large bids and all that stuff.
I totally agree
on
that.
All right, look, we hate to do this at times, but more sad news for the sports community in Southwest Louisiana. Former McNeese athletic director Bruce Hemphill, a great friend of the show over the years. He was AD at McNeese. Passed away late last week at his home at the age of 68. Hemphill, of course, suffered and had a long bout with cancer, had some heart issues and the like, succumbed last week at the age of 68. So we want to send our thoughts and prayers to the family of Bruce Hemphill
Keep
great guy,
for
great
sure.
administrator through all the years, former LSU football player.
And Rick, funny story, Rick. When I got there as a freshman, Bruce Hemphill was actually a grad assistant, and he pretty much monitored Broussard Hall, which
had to monitor you a lot. I heard the story.
Love Bruce, man. Love Bruce, man.
Anyway, our
Love
thoughts and prayers to Bruce Hemphill on his passing.
Also.
All right, let's try to shift gears to the Saints situation with their new offensive coordinator.
It gets
Clint
worse.
Kubiak.
It gets worse.
So he's the new guy, and he hired two offensive assistants, a former Broncos offensive coordinator, Rick Dennison, and a former Chargers running back coach, Derek Foster. I think the interesting thing about this is that he did, by all reports, he did the hiring. Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen, to a large degree, took a hands-off approach. It's your offense, that's your side. You bring in your top assistants. I think that's the way to go. He's 36 years old, 10 years in the league, Kevin. His dad, Gary Kubiak, decades and decades, won a Super Bowl.
Play with Gary in Denver.
I think Dennis Allen's a defensive coach.
He is.
Let him hire the defense.
He is.
Let his new OC take control.
And Rick, I can see what you're saying. By
you don't like
people,
it? You disagree?
I'm just saying I was disappointed at his performance in the Super Bowl. Very disappointed.
Well, if that, what, you're just gauging him on that?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest game of your life.
He wasn't the OC at the 49ers. He was just an offensive assistant.
But you've got input.
He was passing game coordinator.
You've got input. And you have some input on what goes on. Anyway, you're going to defend him because he's with the Saints. He's hiring people he feels he can work good with.
I like the approach on that.
But the point of the matter is, he's coming in. Have we really seen him hands-on doing anything that he's got his stamp of approval on? Nothing.
You're talking about Kubiak?
Kubiak, yeah. Nothing.
You got to start somewhere.
Nothing.
He's been in the league. He was an offensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings.
What do you do with these guys that you've got there?
And he was the passing game coordinator under Shanahan with the 49ers.
What do you do with the people that you've got on offense there? Does he even know or have a clue?
I think he will.
You think
give
he will?
him time.
But the thing is, do you keep some of Michael Thomas? What do you do with Michael Thomas?
Later on in the show, sir. No, actually, it'll be on the Thursday show. We'll talk about Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore.
It's a lot that he's got to fix, Rick.
It is. Give him a chance. I like the fresh start. I like that he was with the 49ers, okay? And he did he was passing game coordinator.
I can see, yes.
And he's got OC experience.
I can see what they were trying to do with bringing him in. But, Rick, with the Saints right now, you've got so many different types of people there that fit different schemes. Yeah. You got to be able to bring this together.
Got to start somewhere. What are you saying they should have kept Pete Carmichael?
No, not at all.
Then you got to restart over.
I get that. That's your boys. I get it. You know, they're going to lose another 10 games this year, but I get it, Rick. I get it.
All right. Well, if they lose another 10 games, we'll both get our wish and Dennis Allen's gone. Look, it got to a point where look, make a decision on, and they're still looking for a receivers coach and a tight ends coach.
Yeah.
I was getting a little nervous. I mean, come on, let's bring some people in and get to work. Okay, so they're doing it. I almost got to the point where I was going to come on this show, just hire John Gruden already. Just pull some strings, get with the commissioner, and hire John Gruden.
I think it was smart for him to bring his people in. You know who you work best with. I get that part.
That's the way to go.
I get that part.
Look,
I do.
The running game, Alvin Kamara, veteran Jamal Williams, the young guy, Kendrick Miller. Do you think that's a core that's part of that offense from the running game?
It depends.
Jamal Williams led the NFL in 2022 with 17 rushing touchdowns. How many touchdowns did he rush for the Saints? You want to know? You want to know?
Yeah, I think I got an idea.
One.
Two.
I
was going to say two.
The controversial touchdown that they were going to.
At the end.
That's his only touchdown.
I thought it was two, but okay.
No, Jamal Williams.
Look, this is my thing, Rick.
What's your thing?
You've got all of this talent there on offense. And come here, Rick, I keep calling people names out and stuff like this. How do you put these people in offensive sets to where they can be productive? To where they can, Rick, these people are superstars. If you would put Kamara on any other team but the Saints, he'd be a superstar. And that's the point I keep trying to make. Why can't we fix it? Well, why can't we fix that?
Kubiak, that's his job. That's going to be his job. We better get the offensive line fixed as well. All right, let's shift gears. Speaking of running backs, LSU, 19-year-old freshman running back Trey Holiday, arrested over
what
the
happened
weekend.
Didn't happen. I'm
arrested over the weekend. He's charged with the most serious charge, attempted second-degree murder.
That's a serious charge, Rick.
At an apartment complex near Farmerville,
Louisiana.
Union Parish.
Yeah.
His attorney says we are pleading not guilty. he had nothing to do with it. It's maybe a mistaken identity. He wasn't there, yada, yada, yada. Indefinitely suspended, obviously, from the LSU football program.
He is.
Once again, cautionary tale. I'm not saying he was involved at all. He's innocent until proven guilty. But again, young people, know who you're hanging around with. When you go home, go to mama's house.
You know, when you go home,
sit in the kitchen.
Everybody want to be around you because you've been playing, and and people just want to assert themselves around you to feel like,
I'm a star.
I'm above the law because I'm with so-and-so.
Yeah.
And you've got to be cautious about that. If it's me, I'm going to stay on campus. Whatever trouble, you got to come find me. You have to come find me trouble because I'm not going looking for it. I'm not. And, these young kids, I mean, I get it, but you've got to realize when you're in school playing, you don't know what this other group of guys are doing while you're away at school playing. And that's what happens a lot of times when you go back home, Rick. You get caught up in these type of situations. If I'm a coaching staff, if it's kids that want to stay there, make means for them to stay there.
We'll try to keep you abreast. In our final 20 seconds or so, NBA All-Star Game it was a joke.
It's just like the NFL Pro Bowl. I mean, what's different?
Well, they don't play it anymore. That's why.
That's my point, Rick.
I mean, just
that's my point, Rick.
Just do a whole bunch of dunk contests and the three-point shooting contest. We'll talk on Thursday night show with the Battle of the Sexes.
Yeah.
With Steph and Sabrina. I thought it was great. Highlight of the weekend.
It was.
But that All-Star Game was just a waste of time.
It was, Rick.
They weren't even playing half speed.
No, it's not supposed to.
It's ridiculous.
That's a vacation.
Hobbs is off this week.
Always
it's just us two.
We had fun.
appreciate you being here. We'll see you next time right here at SoundOff.
If it's a story worth telling, it starts with Getaways specializing in me time. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Escapes to soak the day away. And rounds on a course designed by Tom Fazio. Start a story all your own at L'Auberge Lake Charles.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.